Hi everyone, hello. Welcome back to my subscribers and welcome to those who are just viewing. It has been a while, 4 months, a 4 month break since my last video, and today I come and bring you my 1 year anniversary lock update video. I just want to say thank you to those who remained subscribed during my 4 month hiatus and those who subscribed anyways, without seeing like 9, 10 month or anything like that, because I recently, like a couple of months ago, reached my 100 subscriber. I reached 100 subscribers. That's what I mean. Not like I didn't have like a particular goal or anything like that. So yeah, I reached 100 subscribers, and I was like in shock. I was like, wait, there are like that many people interested in following my lock journey and stuff, and yeah, I really excited about that. So thank you so much for tuning in and staying subscribed and just consistently watching. And for those who are just viewing, welcome. Yeah, I'm CJ. I'm just tracking my lock journey on YouTube, and yeah, July 31st of this year, Monday, will mark my 1 year anniversary. Now, I have taken, those who have seen me in my previous videos know that I try to take notes and try to be concise and fail at it, but I've still taken notes just because there is quite a bit to cover and I wanted to at least intellectually stay organized. So I have my notes and we'll see how that goes. The reason why I stopped making videos for a couple of months it was partially, yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot of shifting, a lot of changes going on in my personal life, but also contrary to that, there wasn't a lot of changes, physical changes in my locks. So I just kind of felt like it was a disservice to keep coming on month after month and being like, yeah, haven't noticed like any changes really. And I almost felt like what was the point and stuff like that. So I decided to take, more time in between so I can come back with, just more observations, shifts, etc. for everyone. So diving. I've been trying to make this video for a while, so I keep saying delving and diving right into the physical changes that I have noticed. They're actually physical changes. The most physical change is the one that I like. They've just been done by me, not so much like in terms of my locks transforming, and that is me combining my locks. I've combined a couple of locks on my edges just because their bases seemed pretty weak. And this is I actually take more responsibility for this than, blaming on my friend Nakia, because last year, I want to start with this, even though she does like hair, like great hair. This is why I even asked her to start my locks. Like her weaves are always on point. Like the one she does herself at the back always look great. But she's never like worked on locks. I'm actually the first person who went up to her and was like, hey, can you actually help me start my locks and stuff like that? And so with that being said, I of course did a lot of research, especially in terms of images, Pinterest, photos. And what I noticed was that despite the size of the sections and parts in most of most of people's hair that I was like looking at, the edges, I noticed the edges would have like slightly thicker parts and thicker sections. And that made sense to me just because, even with loose natural hair, we're like so concerned with our edges because they get a lot of like, they get the most of the beat down in terms of, the environment, exposure, when we're styling our hair. I mean, like even if I just did this, these are being pulled more. So that's why it even makes even more sense for locks, but July 31st, 2016, it was my first time going out to Jersey to meet Nakia, and so they had skipped a certain stop. I was like not prepared to get off, just grabbed as much as I could to make sure like I, didn't miss the stop, and forgot my phone on the train. So I couldn't even let Nakia know that I had arrived. Of course, I had a little, mini conniption and was just like, what the heck am I going to do? What the heck am I going to do? Luckily, I was able to reach her at a T-Mobile store, et cetera, et cetera. But with that, because I was just so thrown off by that, I forgot to communicate a lot of things to her about starting my locks. So like, for instance, the whole thing with, if you've seen my past videos, about 3 or so, at least 3 of my locks on this side where, and this is when my parting was this way. So yeah, I switched my parting. That's just like my laid back attempt at like styling my hair, switching up its style, which I'll get into later. But, I didn't, oh yeah, that's why like about 3 of them were twisted, or my comb coils were twisted clockwise or counterclockwise. I didn't communicate even like how I wanted them, like which direction I wanted my locks. The bulk of my hair is counterclockwise, and I'm cool with that, totally cool with that and stuff like that. But there are 3 that were twisted clockwise and stuff, and that also, like, I mean, I believe that that's also the case in terms of my edges. Like I had in my first, I think it was my first Lock Talk video when I pointed out this really itty bitty, like thin baby lock or comb coil that I had that I thought was the cutest thing. And like, that's why like something like that was there on my edges, because I didn't communicate that to her, and also I wasn't worried because even though like I'd seen like, the edges being slightly thicker, I didn't think it was that big a deal. And also I was like, yo, I can always combine later and stuff like that. The real concern came, and why I like combined not quite a few, but a couple of them now, or earlier on, is because just in terms of doing more research on locks, and hopefully this helps those who haven't started and are just watching and doing research before they start, is that as your locks grow and get longer, they also get heavier. Like gravity works on everybody, but like it works on locks and stuff, and on our hair. So they can even in terms of like the size, they can seem, from what I've been told and what's been communicated to me and what I've researched, like the locks that can be like thicker can, thin out a little bit, not thin out in a dangerous or like, or awful way, but like your locks change shape, and also they can get heavier depending on how much products you use as well. So be careful about product buildup, but they do gather like weight. So it's important. It becomes even more imperative to look out for your edges. That's why you can see some people, not only in terms of like how often they retwist, like if they're retwisting every 2 weeks, etc., but also probably in terms of weight and, size and care, and also like, the strength of the hair. The locks the edges can be the first things to go. So with that new bit of information, I started getting worried, especially about the little baby lock, and started combining some that in which their bases felt pretty weak, and I was concerned about that. So I'm going to show you those particular locks. And you see one is just like front and center, this baby right here, and this one is actually, I believe, the baby lock that I combined it with one that was of okay size. So you can see this baby right here is fine. Like, look at the size on that. Now this baby was just a little too thin for my liking. And so also because I started with a diving parting system. You can't see it because I haven't retwisted my hair, because I wanted to show you guys, or have you see, to the best of my camera and my ability, just why I was concerned. So that you can see before I retwist and gather like the hair that's around it, and like it looks, the base looks solid, just like this. Look at, these are combined locks right now, and I don't think, oh no, it is. This is just like in between those 2 locks, but so you can see just like for one of them, if I can just move, and it's harder with my black roots, but like you just see how thin, like it's in between my fingers. This is how thin the base of one of these locks were. Maybe this might be the baby lock, I'm not sure. And then and this one's slightly thicker, but yeah, so I was just concerned about the base of these locks, and also, oh, I just caught this. So I don't have pink eye or anything. It's just like something had gotten into my eye and was just rubbing up against it for a couple of days. So please don't be alarmed by this. The redness is just because something was in there in my eye. But so this is the second combined lock that I was showing you. This is the third right next to it. So you can see just like right up, right on my edges. You know, this is just the edge right here. So these three were like in a row. I didn't even realize that until just now. I can show you how much attention I've been paying. I'll get into that later. But yeah, so these three. And then when I have combined in the back, hopefully I'll be in frame. Up here, or down here, I mean, this baby right here. So this one is also similar to this large one in that there's a lock that was like, oh, I'm totally fine with, but the one, so here, this baby in my right hand was just too thin for my liking. And even though it's in the back, I have never faced a problem. Well, I have actually, for bad perm that wasn't washed all the way out when I was really little. And it wasn't my mom who did it. It was like actually at a hair salon. They didn't wash out the back and stuff. So but I just never, besides that, faced like my hair coming out. So just the idea of like a lock just falling out, I like, you know, even a former coworker of mine who is locked and stuff, just like, oh, I've lost locks. I'm like, that idea just creeps me out. I'm like, I'm not gonna pull out a lock. It's just so weird. So I'm very scared of that. Like, I don't care what area it's from. I don't want to deal with that, especially at the front. So that brings up one that I'm actually concerned about, which is, and I haven't combined it yet because I have the diamond parting system. It's an interesting ordeal, I guess, or like I just have to strategize a little bit more about what locks I combine, because it also has to feel comfortable. And I'm not too concerned about like the look and stuff, like, oh, every single part being perfect, because, oh, what if I style it? But, you know, I don't want like everything to be a mess and stuff like that, you know? So I haven't combined yet for those two reasons, but also because, so you can see, like, this is the size of the lock, and like, look at the root. The base just looks a little, it feels a little weak. Now, the reason why I haven't combined is because I haven't retwisted in about 2 months. And I'm noticing that I've noticed that there's quite a bit of hair around it that isn't growing into the lock. So I want to see if I retwist it, how much strength that lends to the base of that section. So yeah, I have combined locks, and that's the first physical change. And yeah, I mean, I'm still concerned about the two over here a little bit, but hopefully it'll all work out. And I definitely plan on incorporating castor oil as much as possible into my regimen wherever I can, just to really help beef up my edges. Because I've never had a problem with my edges. I've like been that kid who's like known as like, oh my, you have such thick hair, and stuff like that. So it's just, any sort of hair issues just kind of like makes me, like, I'm like, I almost feel like I've attached my identity to it. I'm like, I wouldn't know who I am if I'm not the one with the good thick hair. So it's silly, but you know. So now going into my regimen, I have completely forgotten about like what I had wanted to do in terms of like, yeah, every 2 weeks, washing my hair and oiling my scalp and all that stuff. That fell by the wayside like nobody's business. Like I just forgot about lock care, the care aspect of locks. Besides, yeah, of course I wash my hair, definitely. And like, you know, oiled my scalp whenever I remembered, but like I just was not on a consistent regimen. I even stopped spritzing my hair and stuff like that. So, and I'm going to get into all of this. But first I want to give you 2 reasons why. So the first reason why I just like was spacey in terms of lock care is that I was extremely busy in my life. I for the past couple of months just been shifting from job to job and all that stuff. Hey, artists is what we it's kind of like the issue that we face. Just finding a good fit. And there's just a lot of toxicity in my workplaces, my previous workplaces and stuff. So shifting a lot in that, externally, and just having a lot to do. And then also being busy internally as well. So just a lot that created a lot of on my mind and stuff like that. And hair wasn't a top priority. And it's also kind of like, it kind of ties into why I started locking my hair, because I just didn't want to like plan my life around like my wash days and everything like that. I did want like my hair, but I also wanted to be able to get up and go. And so I did just that. And the second reason why I forgot about lock hair, this is kind of vain, but I just kept, the compliments just started raining in for your girl over here. So like I just was just getting complimented like, oh my gosh, I love your whole look, da 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 da. Like one of my jobs is hosting, and like this elderly woman was just like, I just love you, just look so chic. I love the hair, I love everything and stuff like that. So I was just like glorifying, just bathing in the glory, of compliments. And so I was like, oh, my hair is fine. I kind of like convinced myself. I'm like, I just didn't think there was anything to fix. And I guess I associated lock hair with fixing any sort of problems. Because, as with African American hair, we struggle with the dryness and this. And all of us are still, in a sense, almost like learning about our hair. And so caring for it is almost tied with preemptive strikes and fixing more so than upkeep in a way. And so since I kept getting compliments, I was like, ain't a problem. So whatever, let me just keep going about my day and, or my life. And I just wasn't aware. My awareness just wasn't up in my hair, which is a boon in that, like I said, I wanted my life to not be planned around my hair. And my hair is wonderful. I'm not saying I hate natural hair or anything like that, but my life, I'm not my hair, as NDRE says, preach. And, but also a caveat in that I just wasn't taking care of it. And so I even with forgetting the every 2 week, plan, I also just forgot about spritzing and outward moisture and stuff like that. I think part of it is I went through my batch of rose water so quickly. And I've forgotten, the other reason why, but I just fell off in terms of the spritzing. Oh, it was because I was like, oh, let me make rose oil and try that first. Well, it took me a while to get to the point of making my rose oil. And then I also did a steeping method. So I just had to wait for at least a month, before I could even, for it to actually be made before I could even use it. And so now I have been using for the past week, because also another thing was having the time to really have the space to think about it and make it, etc. So last weekend was my first weekend off in over 2 months, or in about 2 months. And I made this in my former rose water spritz bottle. And all of this is vegetable glycerin, rose oil, and peppermint and tea tree oil. And the tea tree oil I put in for reasons of anti-bacterial, microbial, etc., etc. And the peppermint is more of, again, a vain addition, in that, I know not everybody likes the smell of tea tree oil. I'm fine with it, but I don't know who I'm going to be hugging or standing next to, etc., etc. And, so I just added peppermint. I really like the smell, etc., etc. And, peppermint oil has been very helpful actually in my scalp oil, because it helps, because it tingles, so it helps me know where I've actually put oil. So I'm just oh, okay, that place is tingling, I don't have to put any more oil there, but then with this mix, notice I said I had subtracted water, and I was I thought I'd be fine. No, the spritz is more of a stream. I don't like that, so I then added I put a 1-to-1 ratio of this plus filtered water in here, just to make it easier to spread around. And the reason for vegetable glycerin is because we've had some very humid weeks here in New York City during the summer. And I was just like, it just dawned on me, like, wait a second, doesn't vegetable glycerin, like, isn't that the best time to use it in like humid climate? So let me, incorporate that, because I've been using my vegetable glycerin and I don't like to waste oils and stuff that I purchase. So yeah, and I started doing that for a week, spritzing in the day and at the night. And I've noticed already that like the base of my hair, like the part that's still loose that hasn't been retwisted into a lock, is very soft. I think it'll take a little bit more time to feel that kind of softness in my lock. And I'll get into that aspect a little later in terms of how I feel about my journey and stuff like that. I just want to kind of focus on just physical things that I've changed, like what I'm doing and stuff like that. So yeah, I've already noticed some softness. So that's definitely something I'm going to be upkeeping regularly. And for this particular month, in terms of my every 2 week washing my hair and oiling my scalp and stuff like that, I've been good this month. In fact, I've been so good that I've been aware that this past Tuesday would have been the next 2 week mark since I last washed my hair, but I didn't do it because I knew I was going to shoot this video this weekend and it would be my 1 year anniversary, and I'll just do it this weekend. Which I'm going to do after the video. I just didn't retwist my hair because before making this video, because I wanted to be able to clearly demonstrate, especially with like this one, why I was kind of worried about it. And also for those who are locked, who've been locked for years, if you can like give me some advice, because and say like, hey, you ain't got to trip that much because it looks fine to me, then by all means, please share that information or your opinion, because it really matters. So moving on, after spritz and stuff like that, yes. Something that has still been consistent in my regimen is that I still wash with Dr. Bronner's lavender soap. In fact, the same one, because I bought a big jug, so it's there. It still just leaves my hair so soft and so pliable and manageable, etc. Right after my wash. And I'm talking about when my hair is dried. So I keep that up. And I do oil my scalp first thing, like after I wash and stuff like that. Like I said, previous months I haven't been that great about it. Yeah, so I've just been doing that. That's all this in that note and stuff like that. So yep, still doing that. And I think it was actually this past 2 weeks ago where it dawned on me that like after my hair like actually like pretty dry, it just felt like my locks, I was like, wait, actually my locks feel dry, and actually they have been feeling pretty dry. And that's what really sparked my attention in terms of like, oh shoot, I haven't spritzed in like who knows how long, so yeah, so that's that. And then the next thing in terms of the physical changes is styling. It just dawned on me since I'm close to my 1 year mark. I'm like, wow, I have not done anything interesting with my locks. First of all, I just feel like locks in and of themselves, because of the unique way that they develop, are interesting in it, like I said, in and of themselves. So I haven't really thought about that. Another like reason why I haven't thought about that is not just because I think locks are interesting, but also I'm pretty laid back when it comes to like my the whole styling and lock care and everything like that. More laid back than I had even thought I would be coming into the lock journey. So it's just like, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, it looks fine like this and stuff, and I can just switch it this way or whatever. So yeah, just in terms of my personality, I haven't really, I'm not really that like, I haven't paid that much attention to like be like, oh, I want to switch up the style and style it this way and that way. The second reason why I haven't styled is that when I so now with one of the positions at this extra position that I got at the job that I've stayed at for a little bit, I have to do a lot of like cutting things, and I'm like, yo, this is just like all in my way. I can't see. I'm like, I can't see properly. And so I've tried, and even like with my workout regimen, I started a new workout program from the other one that I like started last year. But I like put my hair back. So it's like now it just like with recent activities, I'm just aware of how in my face my hair is. It usually doesn't bother me, but I'm like, and also like because they're like this long, so like it's longer versus when I started where like this was like probably like up here. I'm like, yo, this is really in my face, and like some of the strands will get like caught in my eyelashes and stuff like that. So I try to, and it just like I almost feel like my hair is too short to actually put this into a style that I would be satisfied with and confident walking out with too. So I was just like, I could do this and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, it's okay, but I'm like, I want to do, you know, I don't know. It's just like, whatever. Not my cup of tea, at least yet. So that's another reason. And I know this is not true that they're like too short to put into a style, but like that's kind of what I told myself. The other reason is that my locks, again, this ties into what I noticed 2 weeks ago when I finally had the space to like notice something, like the mental space. These felt really stiff. Just in terms of like, that's even actually one of the reasons why this is probably the second or maybe third time I've done this, that tops, in terms of switching over my parting, because I didn't want my locks to kind of get like stuck and safe in one position, because they'd feel stiff and like uncomfortable moving around. So I didn't want to do a lot. It just kind of like served as like a lack of like, or it would stop my impetus or my enthusiasm for even trying to like put a different style in my hair, because it just feel kind of uncomfortable sometimes moving them around. That brings up a question of like, I wonder, for those of you who have had locks for a while, if that changes over time, like almost like, you know, when you get your braids and stuff and it's like, woo, woo. So I'm kind of goofy today, but like, you'd be like, oh my goodness, you feel like that. And if it like loosens and becomes more amiable to just being moved around in different ways and stuff like that as the locks get longer, etc. So that's a question about like that. That's actually a concern. This goes into like how I'm feeling in terms of emotional aspects of my journey that I'm just like kind of concerned about. Like, does that change? I hope it does. And I'm doing what I can in terms of, I'm going to try to be a little bit more adventurous in terms of putting my hair in different formations as I go along. And so hopefully that'll change. And let me see. Yeah, that kind of covers it. But then there's one other thing as to why this like styling has never been put on my mind until just around now, and that's because when I was doing research, I don't know if you guys know, I think it's Joyce MD. I haven't watched a lot of videos yet, or videos lately on YouTube in terms of locks and stuff and lock upkeep. But she talked about and mentioned in one of her videos that, you know, staying away from putting lock jewelry in your hair for at least the first 6 months, because if it's too tight and stuff, it actually influences the formation of your locks. A lot of what we do physically in terms of physical changes will influence the physical changes of our locks. And that reminded me of something that I'll mention after I make this point. But, and so that in learning that, I was just like, okay, so I'll wait until like 6 or 7 months before I like go out, try to get some seashells and whatever like that and put lock jewelry in. But then upon observing how slowly my particular journey, my locks are developing into, my star locks are developing into locks, I was like, okay, let me just wait even longer and let's see around the 1 year mark. I think I just kind of like made that promise to myself some months ago and forgot until now. And so that's another reason. It's just because I just don't want to, I just want to let my locks develop on their own as much as possible, with only like retwisting the base, you know, as the greatest amount of like, you know, physical manipulation I put onto my locks as they mature and as they're, you know, in the early stages. I think I still consider this stage pretty early in my lock development and my lock journey. So the thing that what this point reminded me of in terms of physical changes, that I remember my 8th month lock-in video, I was talking about like, oh my gosh, my locks they seem kind of flat. So this one is still, I mean, this one back here still feels pretty flat. Put it up close. So you see, it's not like your, stereotypical idea of locks in terms of the perfect cylinder and stuff like that. At least the ones that are, a lot of the ones that are on Pinterest and stuff, or like, like in photos and stuff like that. And I was concerned about like probably the activity of like tying my locks down with my satin scarf and also rocking my beanie, my trusted beanie every day, kind of contributed to them developing in a flat, or like they almost felt squished physical formation. And I am happy to report that I was like right, because like I showed you, that particular lock is not as flat as it used to be, and also some of the other ones that really felt squished are no longer feeling that way, because I just got up my lazy bum and finally put my satin pillowcase on my pillow. And I've had this. I have 2 of them for both pillows. I just never did it. So I was like, you know what? Stop being trifling and just like put freaking satin pillowcase on your pillow. And also because it's summer, I'm not wearing my beanie, my trusted beanie with the freaking silk lining. I mean, talk about like, I'd be in an oven if I wore this out. So yeah, their shape is no longer as flat as it was. They're still on the flatter side, which is something I hadn't expected, but I'm just, letting the transformation occur as I guess my hair strands see fit. So the last 2 points in terms of physical changes, one is quick. Yes, the struggle with loose strands is still ongoing. The frizz and stuff, like you see my locks are frizzy, which I'm totally down with, but like, some of the strands that are just like loose and stuff like that, that is still ongoing. Like for instance, this baby, like there is so much hair. This is the lock, this is it, and this is like, look at how much hair is just like around it, and this could easily get caught up in here or whatever. So that struggle still continues, more so with the back, because I can't see it and I'm not like, just like going in like this. I probably should do this as often. So there's that, and it gets caught on like my like earring here that I have in here. So that struggle still continues, but it's fine. And then the last one is, yeah, I actually touched on it, which is, let me see. Oh, yeah, is the dryness that I had observed, but it's more stiffness than dryness. And this actually brings to mind for you and those watching, in terms of like my moisturization. So like I said, like I'm noticing more like the softness in the base of my hair, the loose hair. Okay, so my last observation in terms of physical changes that I was into in the last part of this video is that yes, I have noticed like and struggled with like dry feeling in my locks, like I've observed, but more so stiffening. And as I had said in when I was talking about my spritz, is that I have noticed already some softness in like the looser, like the parts of my hair that's still loose, that hasn't been retwisted into a lock. And I haven't noticed it that much in the actual locks themselves. Now, my question to those of you who also had like a significant amount of time with your hair loose and locked is did you have to like grow accustomed to a different sense of moisture in your hair? And the reason why I ask this is because like I'm not sure if like what I'm looking for before I call, or like looking to feel before I say, oh yeah, my locks are moisturized, is something that is that I'm just used to feeling with my hair loose, because I was loose natural for like 10 years before locking. So of course I know what that feels like when it's moisturized and when it's dry and stuff. But I wonder if I just need to get accustomed to a different sense of moisture, even from when I first started my lock journey. If you remember from my first, like I think 2 or 3 videos, like I just was like, oh yeah, it's very moisturized and very pliable, but that's also like my loose hair in comb coils. And it's still like my loose natural hair, and also still it didn't have as much, you know, it wasn't as dense, because this is also far more dense because of all the, like, you know, the shed hair, etc., that is just packed in here. And if it takes longer just for moisture to seep in and really permeate and stuff like that, or if it's just, if I just have to like reevaluate and recalibrate my sense of moisture in my hair, you know. So please just give me as much feedback or any comments and stuff like that, and any help, because I'm also still gathering and accepting and advice and help and all that stuff upon my lock journey, because I still consider myself baby locked. That's just 1 year, you know. So let me see. Now I'm going to, because this is already long enough, possibly like separate this into a different video. I am not sure. Yeah, I'll just make it a quick thing. So that'll be it for this. These are the physical changes of my 1 year lock anniversary update. And for this next segment or installment, I'll go into you know, the emotional changes and what I've been noticing inside, and certain concepts, etc., that I'm exploring as I go along this journey. All right, so thank you again for tuning in and watching this video, and I'll be right back with another one for you. All right, bye.